Is Dave Chappelle really richer than Kevin Hart? Winning hearts by making people laugh is an admirable job, but how much do the comedians make? In today's video, we are going to find out if Dave Chappelle is really richer than Kevin Hart. If Dave is, then how did this hardworking comedian become crazy rich? Well, first, let's start with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is a comedian, actor, and producer who has won Emmys, Grammys, and the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor, among other awards. He is best known for the satire show, Chappelle's Show, which aired in the early 2000s, and for his appearances on Saturday Night Live. He has also done 6 comedy specials on Netflix. He makes most of his money from stand-up comedy, acting, and his show, Chappelle's Show, even though he left $50 million on the table. A lot of his new wealth comes from big deals with Netflix. Early life. David Carey Weber Chappelle was born on August 24, 1973. He's better known as Dave Chappelle. This means that Dave Chappelle is 49 years old at the moment. His parents, William David Chappelle III and Yvonne Sion, formerly Chappelle, had him in Washington, D.C. Both parents taught at universities. Even though Chappelle was born in the United States Capitol, he grew up in Maryland. He grew up in the great city of Silver Spring, Maryland, where Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor were his heroes. He mostly lived with his mother, but he often went to Ohio to visit his father in the summer. He was thought to be a comedian at a young age because he was funny and liked to make people laugh. Chappelle started making people laugh when he was only 14 years old, when he would perform at nightclubs when he could. Before he got his degree in theater from the Duke Ellington School of the Arts in 1991, he worked as an usher in the theater. So how did he become famous and start earning money? Chappelle moved to New York City after he graduated from the Duke Ellington School of the Arts to become a full-time comedian. Like most of us, Dave didn't start out doing very well. Before he really made a name for himself as a young comedian in New York City comedy clubs, he was booed off stage. Before Chappelle even turned 20, he had already gotten off his career to a good start. In the early 1990s, when Chappelle was on HBO, he became popular with both fans and critics. Dave Chappelle was also getting started as an actor. He played a major supporting role in Robin Hood, Men in Tights, a movie by Mel Brooks in 1993. Chappelle has also been in movies like The Nutty Professor, Con Air, and Half-Baked, which he also starred in. Eddie Murphy, who he looked up to as a child, was one of the stars of The Nutty Professor. In 2003, Dave Chappelle got his own show on Comedy Central called Chappelle's Show. This show was very popular, and it's likely that it helped Dave Chappelle earn a lot of the $60 million he has now. In the middle of the 3rd season, he quit because he was working 20-hour days and didn't have enough time to do stand-up. There have been rumors that racial tensions behind the scenes also played a role in the leaving. Chappelle's contract with Comedy Central could have given him an extra $50 million, but he blew it by leaving Chappelle's Show. Dave Chappelle's deal with Netflix has helped him make a lot of money. Chappelle signed a deal in 2016 to make 3 Netflix specials. It is said that Chappelle has made close to $60 million from these Netflix specials over the past few years. Almost all of Dave's money at the moment is worth that much. Dave Chappelle's won 5 Emmy Awards. 2 of them were for his work on Saturday Night Live. 3 Grammys were given to Chappelle for the Best Comedy Album. Dave Chappelle's also been nominated for a Screen Actors Guild Award and won the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. People know that Dave Chappelle gives money to many different charities. Chappelle's High School and the Duke Ellington School of the Arts have gotten a lot of help from him. He has given at least $100,000 to the high school over the years. He keeps raising money for the school, and a recent Instagram vote to name the theater building after him is one example of how he does this. This is a competition to see who can give the most money. So what does his net worth look like? Dave Chappelle's Netflix shows have brought in a lot of money for him. Chappelle's worth about $60 million, and all of his Netflix specials have made him a little more than $60 million. This is almost double what Forbes said Dave Chappelle was worth in 2018, which was $35 million. Celebrity Net Worth says his net worth doesn't put him in the top 50 among comedians, but it does make him very wealthy. But what about Kevin Hart? Is he really richer than Dave Chappelle? Kevin Hart's been everywhere and done almost everything in the past few years. He has worked as a comedian, movie star, producer, and spokesperson in commercials. He's only slowed down to recover from a serious car accident. All of his skill and hard work's given him a lot of success and money. From where does his money come? In 2016, Hart's live stand-up shows brought in about $1 million each per Forbes. It's not clear how much of that money Hart keeps for himself after paying expenses and splitting profits with venues, promoters, and his team, but he's a smart businessman, so it's probably a lot. Forbes says that Hart makes a lot of money on each tour. From 2015 to 2016, his What Now tour is said to have made him a whopping $70 million. The amount of money Hart makes on tours depends on how long they last and how many shows they do, but it's by far one of his biggest money makers. Hart's yearly income depends on what projects he works on and whether or not he goes on tour. Hart makes between $40 and $60 million per year on average. For that kind of pay, he wouldn't have to work again unless he wanted to, so it's clear that he loves what he does. Hart makes most of his money from doing stand-up comedy. At least $90 million of his wealth comes from comedy, according to estimates, but that's where it all started. Comedy's what made the man famous. Hart's pay for each movie depends on how big or small his role is. He reportedly wants as much as $20 million up front for movies where he's the main attraction, and his average pay is around $20 million. Depending on how much money he makes at the box office or from streaming deals, he could make even more. Hart also makes a lot of money from endorsements and branding deals. In 2022, he was in a Super Bowl commercial for Sam's Club. Hart hasn't just been in commercials, he's also had overall endorsement deals with many brands such as Fanatics, H&M, Hyundai, Foot Locker, Tommy John, Old Spice, Nike, and more. Hart was one of the first comedians to use social media to make the most money and take advantage of his growing fan base. This was never clearer than during the Sony leak in 2014. In December of that year, news outlets published leaked emails from Sony executives criticizing Hart for charging studios for tweets promoting his own movies, as well as movies from shared studios. Did you know that in 2016 he made more money than Jerry Seinfeld? Hart made a huge $87.5 million in 2016, mostly from touring arenas around the world, endorsement deals with H&M, Hyundai, and Foot Locker, and a role in the very successful movie The Secret Life of Pets. Jerry Seinfeld was the second highest paid comedian in 2016, but he made $30 million less than Kevin Hart. So how much is the net worth of Kevin Hart? Hart's a small comedian, but he has a huge bank account. His net worth is expected to be around $450 million by 2023, and he made about $59 million from July 2018 to June 2019 alone. He also owns 85% of Heartbeat, a new media company that's worth $650 million and in which he has a stake of 85%. From everything we've discussed, it's clear that Kevin Hart is certainly the richest. And that takes us to the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and press the bell icon for more updates.